to my abiding journal. As we get started here, I'm just going to get my journal ready. I have everything ready to the side. I'm just going to make sure that we are operating here on my iPad. Not coming through quite yet, but it says we're live on here. So go ahead and say hello in the chat. Let me know if you can hear and see my journal and desk okay, and what you are drinking. I've got my tea here ready to go. I just poured some nice peppermint tea. I think we're working. Yep, there we go. Okay, now you're just hearing me twice. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you're enjoying anything delicious right now as we get started, a nice beverage of some kind, and where you are tuning in from and what time it is where you are. As we get started, I'm gonna go ahead and open up my journal. If you are watching this for the first time, don't know what monthly journaling is, hello and welcome to my abiding journal. Basically, monthly journaling is exactly what it sounds like. We get together once a month and document the previous month together, capturing all of the highlights, the main things that happened in that month, and just try and get it down on a single spread so that you have all of those memories to look back on. So we have been doing this for the entire year so far in 2024 as part of the monthly journaling club. And I am so excited by the way these pages have been turning out, and the most fun for me has been seeing how all of your pages have been turning out. If you want to see how other people are journaling in this way, I encourage you to check out Patreon. I have it linked in the description, but over there we have an exclusive chat for anybody can join it. All you have to do is become a free member on Patreon, and then there's a chat that you can join where you can share photos of your journal spreads and also get inspiration from other people's journaling and just have fun getting to reminisce on the month together. So this is what we worked on last month. Obviously, we had July that we documented all together and hit 40,000 subscribers last month. So thank you guys so much for making that possible. And of course, we are here today to document the previous month, which in this case is now August because it's already September. I can't believe it, honestly. I don't know where this year is going, but that is where we're at. We're in August. So I am going to go ahead and turn to the next blank page in my journal. As you can tell, I have an entire journal dedicated to monthly journaling. This is a Dingbats journal in size B5, and I do have it linked in the description if you're interested in getting the same one. I really love this size for monthly journaling because it allows me to capture a bunch on one page, especially if you're using a lot of photos and stickers. But if you're just getting started, you might want to use a smaller notebook to get started. So I have gone ahead and already printed out and cut out. If you've been following along for a while, then you know I'm usually good at printing out, but not taking the time to cut out my photos in advance. So look at me getting ahead of the game. All my photos that I want to make sure I'm documenting this month. So we'll talk about those in a little bit and the highlights from my August. But I also want to share, of course, our printable stickers because every month we also design a set of printable stickers together as part of the monthly journaling club over on my Patreon. And the stickers this year have all been themed after the month. So you can see here that I have the June stickers. This is July. Obviously I used a lot of these, so it's just kind of a jumble of what's left. And here we have August. So these are what I'm going to be using today to help me decorate my spreads. Obviously, I'll use some other stickers and ephemera and things that I have too, but this is just a great starting place if you're new to journaling, just getting started, don't have a lot of supplies. you can join my Patreon and get access to all of the stickers. An entire archive of stickers is over there. And right now I actually have it set up that you can join for a year at a discount. So if that interests you, even if you're a current member, if you want to stick on for the next year, you could technically join and get that discount cost if that interests you. But here's August. So every month, like I said, we design these together because my patrons vote on the color palette and also give me ideas for things that they want to see in that month's collection, things that make them think of August or whatever month we happen to be in. So we're going to be using those in our spread today. But right before we get started, I do want to also share the September collection is now available. I always share it at the beginning of the month. So if you want to use the stickers throughout the month and not just wait until your monthly page at the end, you can do that. But we have so many fun autumn vibes in this collection. The color palette I think is just perfect for the month of September. And I just am loving, all the fall leaves and apple crisps. So it's still a little bit warm here in September in Pennsylvania where I live, but you can feel the crispness coming into the air as the month goes on. And of course, the start of autumn is the end of September in the Northern Hemisphere. We have some dates that we always include, just some holidays and observances. I love these stickers that say fall with an acronym for foliage, autumn, leaves, and lattes. This is the start of a poem by Mary Oliver called Song for Autumn. And then a lot of my patrons submitted different lyrics that make them think of autumn in this particular month. So I created these little, what are those called? Records. And then on the record cover is the lyric that my patrons had submitted. One is from Taylor Swift, Innocent, and then Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. Taylor Swift also has her version of this song, but I didn't want to repeat it. So we picked another song where she talks about September. And then this one has some fun little spots for you to do some journaling, some autumn related quotes. So I can't wait to use these when we get to September. And if you're interested in them, you can access them right now over on my Patreon. This is available on the $6 tier, or you can just buy it directly from my shop. And then there also are journal prompts, as long as a mini collection that I put out on the $2 tier. So you can get access to this and everything else. Every sticker that is on that tier, you get immediate access to. So it really is a great deal, and just wanted to share that that is available for you over there. So I also have my August prompts here. So I'm going to be using these to help me document August as well. And then I also have just a few other little things. I'm always collecting little bits and bobs as the month goes on. So I've gone ahead and have this little trivia game. You can see we did really well at the beginning and then just progressively got much, much worse at the end. But we did this for Ben's birthday this August. So I'll probably just cut that out and stick it here in my journal. And then I do have some stickers from the July collection because we did play cornhole at a party this month, so I might want to go back and use those. The colors don't really work that well together with the August collection. I feel like a lot of the collections work well together, but this is a case where the colors don't vibe super well, so we'll see if I actually use that or if I want to just draw my own board or something. And then I have this from the Faith kits that I create each month as well on the Abiding Faith tier, mostly because I want the bananas to talk about making some banana bread. So those are just the little pieces that I've gathered in addition to my photos. I do have this to may or may not use to talk about making pizza from the Tiny Book of Tiny Pleasures, which is linked in my Amazon shop. So I think that's enough preamble to get us started. For anybody who is new, we're going to dive into the creative process now. Let me know in the comments if you are also creating your August in review while watching, or if you are doing something else, working on something else. That is perfectly okay as well. But I always think that's fun to know kind of what you guys are up to as you're enjoying our time together. I think my tea is still a little too hot to be able to drink. So I personally always like to start with cutting out the month title, which is included in the printable stickers, and I always put it in the center of the page just because I like the consistency in that regard. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that a while, because then the nice thing is I can build the entry then around that center point and figure out my layout from there. And it's always nice, especially when you're new to journaling, or even just if you've been journaling for a while but are working in a big journal like I am, that amount of blank space can be intimidating. So just getting one thing on the page can really help you to break it up and be less intimidated by the blank page. So that is what we're going to do. And you might be able to tell on my printable, my printer printed some like weird lines in it, and I debated reprinting it, but honestly, it's not noticeable enough for me to care. So I'm just going to let it be, but do know that it's not designed with the lines in it. That was a printing error. Hi, Donna. Oh, I'm so glad that you just joined. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're over there. My top tier, if you are new, is actually a tier where I send Happy Mail upon sign up, and then twice a year in July and January to all of my patrons on that tier. So that's super fun because I get to kind of go through my stash of supplies and then gift some things to my patrons on that tier. I think I've been doing this. I think I want to, I'm getting confused because I haven't had a long month in a while. With June and July and May, I guess, being shorter, I've just been putting them on the left side. But I think before that, yeah, I was splitting it. See, January is split up. So I want to do that again, where I put the kind of abbreviation of the first 3 letters on one side, and then continue it on the other, just so it's like nice and centered. So I'm just reading some of the chats coming in. Just welcome. We have multiple Donnas in the house. So welcome, Michelle, Tracy, Paige, Angela, Angie, Natalie, Belinda is here. Janice, so awesome that you bought the Tiny Book of Tiny Pleasures. It honestly is one of my favorite resources for journaling. I use it in my spreads all the time. It's just such cute illustrations. It's so cheap. You know, in terms of books go, it's like $7. And I just think it's the perfect item to kind of cut apart and use for journaling. The sticker paper I am using today, oh wait, that's a lie. It's not this one. Here it is. So this is the sticker paper. It's called Mako Clear Labels, and they are the matte clear full sheet. That's what the August stickers are printed on, but I just ran out. As you can see, this is empty. So I had to print my September ones on my other sticker paper, which is this matte sticker paper by Koala. This just is also great sticker paper, but it's not clear. So when you put it down, obviously, it's not going to show through the way that this kind of melts into the page. I do love that look. But sometimes these stickers are nice for when you want to use like journaling spaces and stuff. So each has their purpose, but those are the two main sticker papers that I use, and I buy them both on Amazon. So they are linked in my Amazon shop if you're interested in getting them for yourself. I'm so glad you like the colors for September. We have some new people with us joining, so that's so fun to see. It's always fun, especially with something like this that feels like it can be often like the same crowd kind of getting together, which I love my repeat people who are always here ready for the monthly journaling club, but it's also so fun to see new faces joining us even partway through the year. So I'm just pulling up, if you're curious, what I do when trying to figure out what to document is I actually keep a running list in my notes app called Journaling Notes. And just as things happen, I just jot them down in a bullet point so that I remember the things that I want to document. And then by the end, I usually have about, say, 15 bullet points for each month of like big events, just notable experiences, maybe a recipe or something I enjoyed making. So it really does range, but that's what I do is I just have my notes app, which of course is on my phone, and then it makes it so easy as I'm going through life in a month to just jot down those few things as they happen. And sometimes I wait until the end of the month to do that. Actually, this month is a great example where I basically waited until the very end of the month to take the time to jot it down because I hadn't been keeping up with it. And then I just jogged my memory by looking at my photos, looking at the calendar on my phone, through my to-do list that I keep daily. So there's definitely ways, even if you haven't been keeping up with it, to still jog your memory. So this is Ben's birthday. Got these are related for a fun book launch party that we went to. This was released on Ben's birthday, so we'll probably put that together. This is really fun. These are all the books that I read in August. I've been in the midst of some others, but these are the ones that I finished reading in August. And this is a new feature on the Storygraph app, which I've talked about before. I love this app so much. This is not sponsored. I wish it was. It's a free app called the Storygraph, very similar to Goodreads. In fact, you can upload your Goodreads ratings and everything to this app if you have been using Goodreads for a while and are afraid of losing your data. But basically, it's a way to track your reading for every single month and year, and you can set, a yearly reading goal and then do your ratings and everything in the app. And let me see if I think I have a reading spread from the end of, yes. So here is my 2023 books in review. And I have this chart down here of the books and pages I read in each month. And this is a chart from Storygraph. So basically the idea of the app is that it then provides charts of the genres that you read, the pages, the number of books, just provides graphs for all different types of things that you might want to track in your reading. And what is new is they do this yearly wrap up where you get all your charts at the end of the year of what you've read. But now they do it where you get a monthly wrap up too. So now I get this awesome little monthly wrap up that has my covers already in a nice little format like this. And in this case, it includes the ratings that I gave each of the books there in it as well. So I could just literally download this photo and print this out instead of normally when I'm recording books that I read in that month, I'm either taking photos of the books like I did here, or I'm having to find the covers online and then, you know, download them and cut them out like I would with my other photos, like I did here in May when we made this little bookcase, which is super fun. I love doing that format too, and it's a good way to switch things up. But I just think this new monthly wrap-up thing that they're doing on the Storygraph is so helpful if you are a reader and a journaler and want to be able to document what books you read in a month. So I wanted to highlight that because I love that new feature. It's so great. It's a brand new feature. So if you didn't know about it, it like just launched literally, I think this month is the first that they started doing it. So I'm just very excited about that. So I have lots of book related things between that, and then I'm so excited to share. I'm going to talk about this in an upcoming video, but a good friend of mine from church actually just released this book that she's been working on forever. She is such a good author. She's such a talented writer. Her name is Rachel Dymski, and the book is called The Women of Jersey Island. It is my bread and butter of books. I love World War II fiction. It is my favorite genre of book. I just eat it all up. And she had these cookies made with the covers on them because she had this awesome book launch party, so that's her there. And she just did a little reading from her book, and her husband like wrote down some questions to ask her and did a little author interview. So it was just such a fun, cool night. As an author myself, it was just really exciting to get to celebrate her and this huge achievement. And I'm currently reading the book. I haven't finished it yet, but I can vouch that it is already so good. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend it, even though I haven't finished it yet. The Women of Jersey Island. I don't have it linked currently, but I will link it afterwards in the description if you're interested in checking it out and supporting a lovely, amazing author. She is just such a sweet woman and really, really knows how to write. It's really well done. Elizabeth, I just saw your question about beginners videos, and I do have a playlist. If you go on into my playlists, I have one called, I think it's called Journaling for Beginners. So I would recommend starting there because I think that is where my best beginner-friendly how to journal type of videos are. But I also just think watching live streams like this, like go back through, I have so many live stream archives, and I think following along in a real-time process is so helpful when you're just getting started. Is this our crab fest? All right, I don't really know what I'm doing here with all these photos. Like, what do I want to document? I don't even know. Okay, I'm gonna cut out this summer baking because this is a bigger sticker that I know I want to use. And another bigger sticker that I know I want to use is this back to school. Many of you know that I, in my real life job, which is very much not YouTube, I work at a college. So August was all about just gearing up for the next semester, the start of a new academic year. I'm sure many of you with kids can relate to that being a big focus of your August. So I'll probably use that one. I think I might also use this sandal just because I feel like it represents well my summer go-to shoe. Kind of living in my Tevas at the moment, but of course that's starting to change with the change in weather, but was very true still for August. So just working on cutting out the main things that you know you want to use so that you can arrange them around the page. I'm going to cut her out as well because I've been continuing to work on my stretching. And we're also in the midst of starting to train for another big hike, which we did quite a bit in August. That is a good question, Angela. I do not have a video currently on how I print out the printables. In some ways I don't, because it really will vary person to person depending a lot on your printer and the way that you need to work with your printer settings. Yeah, it just varies so much depending on what printer you have. So while I could share, you know, here's what I set my printer to, it just might not really apply to the printer that you would be using. But basically, with my printables on Patreon, it's just a matter of downloading the printables in the PDF or PNG version and then setting your printer settings. In my case, that means often that I'm making sure that I'm printing through my printer and not through another app, and making sure the biggest thing for my printer, because it is a little bit more of a like nicer printer, I guess, where it has like all different settings depending on paper type, is I just need to make sure that my paper that I'm using, so whether it's the clear matte or the other paper, settings matches what my printer is set to, and that I have them set to be the same type of paper and the right type of paper for what I'm trying to print on, because I use the luster paper setting for the matte clear, but use the bright white paper setting for the matte white paper that I use. So I know that's not a super helpful answer, but that is the case. And then I do know that some of my patrons don't fussy cut like I am right now. They actually cut the printables out with their cutting machines if they have them, in which case using the PNG files is the best way to go, because the PNG files have the outline for some of the smaller detail printables. It'll just make it a little bit easier for the cutting machine to follow the edge if you're using a cutting machine. So I hope that is a little bit helpful. You also can, of course, take the printables if you don't have an at-home printer. You know, you could take them on a thumb drive or send them to like your email and take them to a print shop locally and get them printed that way. All right, I think we have a decent number of things cut out now that we can organize a little bit, maybe what we want to do. Got my bananas for the baking. All right, I feel like I need to just, when I feel overwhelmed by a page, which honestly is how I feel right now a tiny bit, where I feel like I'm just like all over the place and I don't fully know what it is I want to do or where I want things to go, is I just need to pick a corner and just stick to it and then just build out from there. To just help me stay a little focused, I'll just be like, all right, this is my little corner to work in right now, and then just pick one of the topics to focus in as I'm getting started here. So I might even, maybe I'll put this here. I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this, and then I think I'm going to write Crab Fest in the sunflower title space that is available in the printables. So maybe we'll actually put this up in the corner. Just trim the little bit that's hanging over the edge. And then this photo is of Ben and my nephew Bradley in the pool at our annual family crab fest. And this photo is just so sweet because Ben was kind of picking the floaty that he was in up over and over again, and making it like, because it's a little rocket ship, making it like he was taking off. And Bradley just kept saying, again, again. It was just so sweet. So that's kind of what this is meant to document and what I want to write then around it. So I'm going to, that's right, I ran out of tape in our last live stream and I never replaced it. So that goes to show you how often I've been journaling this month, which is not at all. The last time I journaled was when we got together last month for our live stream, because I just have not, it's just been a crazy time, a really crazy time. But that is also the absolute beauty of monthly journaling, is it's okay if you get kind of taken up with life and just living as, you know, that's what you're supposed to be doing, in order to have things to document. And that was the case for me this month, but I'm still getting the memories down by having this monthly journal. Bring you a little closer just so you can see a little bit better. I'm just going to angle it. Since I'm a lefty, it's always a little hard to see me when I'm writing completely overhead because my hand just completely blocks what it is I'm doing. So there we have Crab Fest. Not my finest lettering, but that's okay. The nice thing about the way that I do the monthly pages is I purposefully just like fill the entire thing and make it very much in a full collage style. And as a result, it helps you not to focus on like one little element and something you might not love about that small little element. Definitely, if you're interested in learning how to hand letter, I did it all from videos, and it can be hard to find like really good ones on YouTube, but there are a lot of great tutorials on Skillshare, which I know if you watch any of my videos, you know that they're like one of my very few sponsors, because I don't accept most sponsors that don't have anything to do with my channel or things that I'm interested in. But that is one example that I do love what they do, and it actually relates to my channel, and they have a lot of great videos on hand lettering, and I do have a link in my last video was sponsored by them, so you could check that out, and you get a free month, so you could literally join for the month and then cancel. I won't tell anybody. So you could just join just to like take some hand lettering courses and then cancel and not have to spend any money. But of course, if you enjoy it, you can always stick with it. It's pretty cheap as far as memberships go. So I'm going to put this up here. Again, just kind of building up in the one corner. Oh, Jeannie, it's okay. If you hear her little growl, she heard somebody outside. It's okay. So I want to write, I think maybe it makes sense to write here. I just realized I didn't bring up my favorite pen because it's attached to my planner downstairs. That's okay, we'll make do. We'll use a different pen. Let's see if this one is working okay. So I just wrote again in quotes as Bradley after the 500 times of being lifted in the air by Ben. So he just loved that game, and you know how it is with kids, and they're just like, it doesn't matter that your arms are tired. Make it happen again. They don't really realize that it's tiring to do that kind of activity over and over again. So I'll have to think about how we're going to fill then this kind of awkward space. We could, I might use, if not the cornhole, if maybe these colors don't go. I mean, they kind of go, it's not terrible, but I can at least use this backyard fun sticker. So I think those colors go pretty well. And then I can put that maybe here. I think what I'm going to do is put this sunflower here Let's have another sunflower from this collection. That's, oh, here. I have this sheet. Maybe a smaller one will fit there better. So these types of things are always great when you have awkward spaces. So you kind of get a feel for how, okay, now we're like getting something down on the page. We're filling up this one corner. Is it the prettiest corner of journaling that I've ever done? Absolutely not. But we are putting something on the page. We're getting started. And that is what matters in this case. Because then you can just kind of keep continuing down from there and build it out. So I'm going to actually put this photo here. This was a nice simple meal that we enjoyed of hot dogs out on the fire in our yard. There's something about food over an open flame, an actual campfire. It just makes food taste so much better. Definitely something I would love to do again. And in this case, I also made a salad with the cucumbers and tomatoes that we've been growing in our garden. So it was also fun to get to kind of harvest our own veggies to do that. Let's see if this glue, I'm trying a different one because I don't recommend Elmer's. I am using it just because I have it. It says that it's extra strength, but at least with this paper, maybe because it's so slick, it just does not stick well. You can see this like side is like completely up. So I'm going to try this one, which is still Elmer's, but slightly different glue. One of these days I am going to find the adhesive of my dreams. I know everybody says to try the Pritt stick. Is that what it's called? Another brand of glue. So maybe I need to do that. Yeah, sipping my tea. Okay. Okay. So, and then maybe we'll put, thinking maybe we'll do the summer baking. Maybe not. I don't know. I was thinking maybe I would put it here because it's food. Should I make a little food corner? But I'm just not liking the way it looks. So maybe I won't. Maybe I'll do another sunflower. So I do love the sunflowers for August. Into September too, I guess. Okay, Elmer's Extreme Stick, page says, is great. So, excuse my hating on Elmer's. So, maybe I will need to try that version instead. It is true that depending on the type of paper that you're using, the nice thing about Elmer's and others is that it does, I think, do a good job of not making your paper crinkle if that's not something you like. It's not really an issue with this paper because it's so high in GSM, so like in the weight of the paper is really high. So I never really struggle with it with this, but I could see how with others you might, depending on the glue you're using or if you're using like watercolors. Let's cut out some of these. I always love these word strips, are one of my favorite things to use in these pages. These ones are perfect for our hot dogs on the fire because one says summer harvest for my cucumber salad and the other says eat outside. Okay. See. So I'm thinking I want to use one of these blocks. Maybe I'll do the green because then it's the same color palette. So what I want to do is put this kind of layered a little bit over the photo. It's not covering up anything too important, but it'll just add a nice bit of dimension by just doing that little bit of layering. So I'm going to line it up with this printable here. The nice thing about layering too, especially when you don't have the best adhesive in the world, is then it has a corner that's holding down the photo because the sticker, of course, is then helping to hold it to the page. So that then gives me a nice little journaling space to write just a little note, nothing like huge, about cooking over the open fire. So fun to cook our dinner on the fire. Just like a quick little nod to what we're doing here, what the photo is showing, what I'm trying to highlight, the little tiny thing about this moment that I was grateful for and this fun night that I now remember of us choosing to randomly have our dinner on the fire. And then what I'll do in this space is just do like a little arrow and say, like, we grew these, for example. So just a tiny little arrow pointing to the salad on the plate, and then just wrote tomato and cucumber salad from the garden, cooked over the fire, eat outside, summer harvest, and then you just have a nice little moment right there, you know, in the corner, just that summarizes a sweet summer moment. So that's what I really like to do in these pages, is just make a little vignette about a tiny piece of that month in my summer. And that's, of course, what we did here with Crab Fest as well. You know, this is the main memory that I'm most fond of, is just watching them play in the pool, but it's connected to this bigger event. I don't need to write all the details about this event to remember it and know that it was special. Just this one helps to highlight that. And so just like that, we have, you know, a nice corner of our page started. The back to school, I think we probably can just, I don't know, do I want to just like maybe write a little something here? And then what I could do is use like this washi strip potentially as a nice dividing point, or even better, maybe I'll use this washi strip because I love using washi strips and continuing them onto the other page to just help make it feel more connected when doing a 2-page spread. I just really like that look. So I think I'm going to do that. And this will be nice and easy to cut out this way. So I'd love to know how your journaling is going so far. Those of you who are following along by doing your own journaling, did you have a moment of getting stuck like I did a little bit? Are you pushing through that? Are you using a lot of photos in your spread? I feel like I have a little bit fewer photos than I maybe normally do, personally. also cut this out because I think I might want to use this bigger piece over here on this side somewhere, just like for a nice boost of color on the page. And then what I could do is use it almost like a frame for a moment, like talking about this book, for example. I think that would be really nice, book launch. And then it kind of puts these things all together as one. So recommendations for printers, if you're looking for more budget that's just focused on photos, I used the Canon Selfie for years and really loved how focused it was just on printing photos. It was just a little easy to transport and use at any time. I could send my photos directly from my phone, just really easy to use. And I think pretty great quality for what you're paying. Now I use an Epson EcoTank printer. Mine is the 8500. I think I have it linked in my Amazon shop if you want to check it out. It is, I think, a pricier printer than maybe a lot of people, would want to spend if they're not printing a ton of stuff regularly. But it definitely is quality. But it also has a little bit of a learning curve that comes with that too, just in terms of having to play around with your settings and learn what works best for different types of paper that you're using. But the great thing about it is if you are printing a lot, the EcoTank model, the way that it uses ink, isn't cartridges. It actually comes in bottles that you just fill the wells in your printer. And it just is really, really nice. I've been using this printer for almost 2 years at this point, maybe a little bit less. But my ink wells aren't even halfway. And I obviously print out things, photos and printables all the time. And so it just, I think you get the bang for your buck on the back half for the amount you pay up front for the printer because of the EcoTank. And there are other versions of the EcoTank too. So there might be like a slightly more budget friendly one than the one that I have. But that's what I use if it helps as you're looking at options. Well, I'm glad you're cutting them out for September, Donna. I hope that the Cricut is working well for you. Like I said, I have been told that it works well with the PNG files. I have a Cricut from my mom. I just haven't set it up and like bothered to take the time to cut it out. And I also know most people don't have Cricuts and Silhouettes, so I don't want to model using something that maybe most people don't have. Most people have a pair of scissors, so that's what I try and model and show how easy it is to just cut them by hand. But there are times where I think, ooh, I really would like to set up that Cricut and try printing these or cutting these out with the Cricut one day. Okay, let's just stick some things down, shall we? I can definitely very easily get in my head and just spend all my time rearranging things around the page when really it don't matter too much. Just put it down and it will end up looking fine in the end. This one I do need to see. I feel like this, you know, just plain paper sticks fine. The Elmer's, it's something about the combination of the thick photo paper and then this thick paper, they don't like each other. Okay, and then I am going to put this up in this corner. You can see how this sticker paper is see-through, and I just love when you put it down and then it just melts into the page. Look at that. And then it looks like it was just part of the page all along. The app that I use for printing it, I use the printing app for my printer, but for arranging them into a collage so that I can print them out tiny like this, the app that I use is called Pick Collage. I actually talked about it in my most recent video if you want to like see how it's spelled and see kind of what it looks like to use it a little bit. In my seasonal journaling video that I just put out, I show using it in there because I talk about the importance of using photos for seasonal journaling. Maybe what I'll do is trim this. I believe it is free, the app. I can't remember if it's totally free. It might be one of those apps that's like free, but then, you know, if you want to use certain features, you have to pay like $1 to upgrade. I think at the time that I downloaded it, it was free. Maybe it costs like $1 now or something like that, but it's not expensive if it does cost anything. You also could use the free version of Canva. It would require a little bit more work because it doesn't provide a grid and outline the way that Pick Collage does, but you could also arrange photos on there. I mean, you could also arrange photos on like a Word doc. It just is definitely easiest with the Pick Collage app, I find. Okay, I want some kind of like book related stickers to talk about the book launch. Doris, are you using the Pick Collage app now? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about like your Cricut? Okay, need to grab my, so I have not yet transferred all of my printable stickers, this crazy folder, over to my new folders that I got, I showed last time for Amazon Prime Day. I got these new nice folders where I can put all my printables in their own like little individual slots instead of just having this giant dollar store folder that I'm trying to shove everything in. But, ooh, I do like this. Maybe I should cut this out. From May, the faith add-on sheet was this hanging out with Jesus, which I have been in my hammock again more recently, spending my mornings. There was a time where that didn't happen for a little bit, but now I can't find my scissors. I'm back to my bad ones. We'll just cut this out while I'm thinking about it. But that's not why I came to my crazy folder of printables. I came to it to look for a book-related sticker, because typically I have lots and lots. I do love this one too. Weekend forecast. This is from May. Hiking with no chance of cleaning or cooking. So. So if you're wondering what all you get access to on Patreon, it looks like this, a crazy, ridiculous amount of stickers for every season, every month, multiple months, over and over and over again. So here are some of my bibliophile book lover stickers. I've used a lot of them, but that's a good example. I loved the January collection we put out this year. Can't believe it's almost going to be time for another January collection. That is just crazy. Here's more books. So these are all my, like, you can see I used most of these. I just have like the small little remnants of those. This is an I Rather Be Reading. This is an even older book related collection. This one is a freebie over in the free printables collection, so you could have fun with that. Experiencing everyday adventures. So many good things. So many printables. It's like, honestly, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should cut it down just because it probably is overwhelming for people if you're joining new. It's like very difficult to try and catch up with them all. But all that to say, I think that's good. We're going to call it. I'll take that one out too. Okay. We'll look through these ones I pulled out. Brie, it should only be locked to, on Patreon, it's locked to just free members. You just have to be a free member or up, because I have a free printable attached to it, but you only get access to the freebies if you become a free patron. Basically, becoming a free patron is, in a way, like joining my newsletter, because it just means that when I post a new video or something that is for free printable or free patrons and up, then you'll get access. It'll send you an email about it. So it's kind of like joining a mailing list, but I don't send that much out. It's really just when I put out a new video or have a freebie to share with you. But that is why it's locked just to free members. So you just need to be logged in and join as a free member, or you can join on a tier too, of course. this glue worked a little better. Yeah, that's odd, Brie. You should have access if you're on the top tier. I thought you were a patron too. I will look at it afterward and make sure that it's set for everybody. But yeah, you absolutely should have access to it. It's for everybody, free and up. But thank you for letting me know. I'll look into that and make sure that the setting is right for everybody to access it. And yeah, Janice, that is a great point about just being able to print photos, because obviously you can monthly journal without photos. You definitely can. Personally, I think photos are part of what make a monthly journal entry. I just think looking back on your photos is so special. So I really like to have photos in my monthly journaling, even though it's not necessary. But I do think if you're somebody who wants to get into monthly journaling with photos, having an easy way to print is so important, because as much as you can eliminate any points of resistance for yourself, so if that's organizing your photos and getting them printed, if that is having supplies, so maybe joining the Patreon so you make sure you always have access to like the sticker collections, or going to the craft store and buying a seasonal sticker book and then just having that ready to go. Keeping a little like trinket box on your desk to collect any items that come up throughout the month, like if there's receipts or stickers, little ephemera pieces that you come across. All of those things can just be really nice to be able to have easily stored, because then when you come down to sit and actually do the journaling, it will just be so much easier to make it happen. Okay, let's pull out our book stickers I grabbed. So we have The World Was Hers for the reading. This one, You're Never Alone When You're Reading a Book. The bibliophile sticker, the definition, always a good one. C.S. Lewis, this is great, but this color palette doesn't go as well, so I'm just going to ignore those ones. I think these more muted colors definitely go better. She reads books as one would breathe air to fill up and live. This quote is actually one of my quotes from, I think this is my second book. Their wrinkled pages and discolored skin tell not of old age, but of a good life. These books, unlike so many others, were not just read, but revisited, loved, and experienced. So that is just fun because I wrote that. What's really funny, so a funny story about this quote in particular, and so random. I actually had a coworker who sent me a mailing, like an e-newsletter type thing, I think asking for donations or something like that, from his local library, which is like one county over from where I live. And at the top of the newsletter, they used my quote. Like, I think they must have just found my quote. We're looking up quotes related to books. I think they just looked that up on the internet and happened to weirdly stumble across my quote. So random. And little do they know that the the author, you know, this little known author of this book that very few people have read. It's not a New York Times bestseller, spoiler. But literally lives like in their backyard, and they happen to use the quote in their newsletter. So I just think that's fun. So maybe I'll use that. What I might do even is I might use that and then make a note about that experience, because it happened like maybe 2 months ago. And at the time, I totally forgot to include it in my journaling anywhere. But I just think that's a fun fact and a fun thing that I would like to remember and look back on, that I think I'll very easily forget happened. But I always love to see my quotes used places. It just definitely is very life-giving as an author. So I say that to say sometimes it's okay to document stuff with a little bit of a fib about when they happened, because 10 years from now, I'm not going to care that that actually happened in June and not August, right? Doesn't really matter. I just care that it happened, and I want to remember that it happened. So if I put it in now in my journal, it won't matter that it actually happened 2 months ago, but I'll have it recorded here to look back on. So if you have something like that that maybe has already happened, you didn't get to document it at that point in time, but you want to document it, just put it on this page. You know, there's no rules here. You can add it in, and then you'll have it to look back on after the fact. And that ultimately is the whole point, is to not necessarily record everything perfectly exact, like this happened on this day at this particular hour, but just to have the general idea and memory down on the page. And thank you, Tracy. I'm glad you liked the quote. I do have my books always linked in the description, but I will warn you that they are a trilogy, and I've been working on the third book for multiple years now. And so I need to finish it. I'm so close to being done. I'm so close, but I've been distracted by YouTube and other things in my life, my full-time job. So I just haven't gotten to finish it yet. And the second book does end on quite a bit of a cliffhanger, so I do feel bad for people who have read and enjoyed the first two books and now have been waiting so long for the third one. They're gonna have to reread them to remember what happened. So all that to say, I would recommend waiting until I announce that the third book is officially coming out to read the other two, because I'll be all excited and get to share that when the time comes. But that way you don't have to wait for the third one. You can just buy them all at one time and enjoy them if that's something you're interested in. I'm getting distracted again by other parts of the page. I like this girl kind of framing the August title. So we're going to put her there. And I feel like I need a strip here, but it's still not quite right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, life is busy. It gets away from you for sure. Okay, whenever I have an awkward space, that's where the sunflowers come in. So they just get to help fill it. Okay, I want to go back to these. Maybe I'll use, so I have this little currently reading sticker. And that is true. Like I said, I'm not quite done it yet. I'm more than halfway through, though, and loving it. Really highly recommend it. So I'm going to put that here. And because it is, again, the matte, it should just blend in really nicely and almost be like it was printed on the journaling card. If, of course, I can ever get the back off. 10 years later. Oh my goodness. Come on. We're going to try a different corner. Oh, no worries, Belinda. I should have probably known with most of my audience in the US not to do it on first night of football, but honestly, I didn't even know that was the case. Ben and I are both not big sports followers, but I know that that's important for a lot of people. Something for you to document next month, right? In September, the first night of football. Don't worry, you're not missing much. You're just watching me take forever to peel the back of a sticker off. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? Wait. This does... What did I print this on? Now I'm second guessing. Well, no, it was from this, right? Yes, so it is... For a moment, I thought maybe I printed this in regular sticker or regular paper and I was falsely trying to peel it off. But now I'm like, maybe it is. I'm so confused. But it came from the same sticker sheet as the other one, right? Oh, no. Hallelujah. Everybody cheer. Oh, goodness. Okay. Currently reading. Watch, you're like not even going to be able to see this on the green. It's like barely going to pop out. You can see it. It's okay. It definitely does not stand out as well on the green, but it's like a nice muted look. I'll put this one. Do I... I might want to use, I wish they were a little bit bigger, but I could put my star rating. Even though I haven't finished it yet, so I probably technically should not rate it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 5 stars. I know, I just have like an awkward space, I feel, than here. All right, I'm gonna come back to this little problem. It's not that big of a problem, but it's bugging me, but we're gonna deal with it after we do other things. So let me put, I think I'm gonna put these down just to stop me from thinking about it, frankly, because they might look better elsewhere on the page, but we're not going to entertain that idea. We're just gonna put them here because it works. Ooh, I do need though, because this is trivia night with all of our friends for the Cheaters Never Prosper trivia that they do. It's like a thing that they like bring into this bar. So I don't know if it's like a national organization. Like, does anybody else play trivia anywhere where it uses this? For all I, it might, maybe it's local. I have no idea. But it's nice and it's fun. It's a good way to get out and hang out with friends, do a little trivia night, have a bite to eat. So a great example of just using something that most people would throw away, but hold on to it. And what I want to do is actually, this is a really good example. You know how sometimes you print out a photo and part of the photo is actually like not that pretty. In this case, it's like our takeout boxes and dirty napkins and things on the table. And then it's just like us around the table, smiling and enjoying ourselves. So what I'm gonna do in this case is take my title and just put it over the dirty, you know, less pleasant parts of the photo. Just put it right there in the middle. And then, you know, it just then also draws the focal point to the people around the table. So this is a great tip when you're looking at photos. You know, you don't always have to use it at face value. In some ways, this helps save room on the page, but also is a good way for you to add titles as well. So in this case, the title is made for me by having this piece, but I could just put a, you know, label sticker here as well and write in journaling as well is also an option. So I just wanted to share that tip with you. It's something I do a lot. I just every now and then will overlap a photo to hide parts of the photo that maybe I don't want to be the focal point, or just to help me emphasize what I do want to be the focal point of the photo. It also is great when your photo has a lot of negative space, which sometimes is attractive in a photo. It's a nice design element, but it can be a place where you write a title. This is another great example, right? The focus is over here, and then you have all this sky and the water. I probably won't do it for this just because I don't need to based on the amount of space I have. But if I was trying to save space, I might just put right on the photo, and to add a little bit of interest, the title of where we did this walk, which was the White Cliffs of Kenoi. So I could just put that there. See how wide is this? See if a label makes sense to fill this space to do a little title. And if not, we can always just write it because it kind of naturally makes a nice space for a title on its own. But I just love using the label boxes like this to help anchor words on the page. And that fits quite nicely there, doesn't it? Trick is trying to center it. So there we go. So I'll probably write like happy birthday, Ben, maybe there, because like I said, we did this for his birthday. The show Rings of Power also came out on his birthday, and we love Lord of the Rings. Does not compare to original Lord of the Rings, but I do think it's a good show. We are enjoying it. Many Lord of the Rings fans would scoff at such a claim because you know, some people are very much like the original or nothing at all. And we're not quite like that. I think if you take it at face value, it's a pretty good show. Oh, hello, sirens. So we've watched the first few episodes of that and are enjoying that show. So another example of the types of things that I'll put into my collage of photos, I'll not only do the photos from my own photo album on my phone, but I'll also go through and think about books that I read, shows and movies that we watched, maybe things that I made or places we visited that I didn't get a photo of. I can look that up online and then print it out. So it doesn't have to be only photos that you yourself have taken. Let's see. I don't know if I want to use this yet, but I just want to see what it might look like if I used this big journaling space. Janice, the book that I am using, the notebook, is a Dingbats B5, and it is linked in the description. So it is definitely a larger notebook. It's about the same size as an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, just a little bit smaller. So, is she? No. Ooh, you know what I could do? I could do like this, and then it's like a nice frame. And then I could do like a star rating. I wonder how this would fit. Like that in there. Maybe. I kind of like that. It fits nicely in here. I hope everything's okay. I'll say a prayer. The sirens going by. The nice thing about using big stickers like this is it automatically like fills up the page and makes it look like, ooh, wow, we've made progress. All right, let's put this here. We're just gonna go for it. Oh wait, that's not what I wanted there. That was a close one. I want this somewhere else. I don't know yet. This is the one I want here. So I think instead of putting the star rating, which would fit nicely there, it would be cute to do that, but we haven't finished the show and I don't know if I'm at a place where I want to be giving it a star rating quite yet. So instead, I think what I'm gonna do is just write currently watching. So there we go, currently watching. And of course it's on an angle when you're looking at it, so you can't quite read it, but you know then the title for this section. And sometimes I like writing things not necessarily in the way that you would expect, just left to right horizontal. Sometimes writing things at an angle or like around something, or in this case, just doing it vertically, can add a little bit of interest and make you have to interact with the page a bit more to like understand everything that's going on. So just wanted to fill that space to finish the whole summer baking thing. I baked banana bread. We had a ton of bananas left over from the Crab Fest because my dad thought he was going to make some like banana drinks and then didn't. So I took them and ended up making banana bread out of all of them. This is going to be a very awkward little space, which I think calls for, you guessed it, a sunflower. That's a good question, Tracy. Doing a goal setting hangout for 2025. We definitely could do something, think about doing something like that. I never really gave it much thought. I'll have to think about how I even want to set goals this year, because I think I did that method that I shared in that video, I want to say 2 years ago. And I stand by it as a method. I do think it's really a good way to think about your goals. But I also know that that year I bit off a lot more than I could chew. But that's a good thought. I will definitely think about doing like a start of year goals video, and doing it as a live stream I think could be really fun. These stickers. Okay. This year, I don't know if I think I shared it in some video, I'm sure. I don't remember. I don't think I shared how necessarily I set it up, but where is it? This year I did a 25 by 2025 list, and I just divided my goals into 5 areas. So it's not like it is goals in a way, but it's more like things I need to get done or want to get done. So it is goals in a way. I guess that's what a goal is. So I had like house projects, decluttering and organizing, self-care and creativity, travel, and miscellaneous. And I need to go through this because there are more things that, oh, I did this, figure out kayak storage. Yep, so there's more things that I've done on here that I just didn't check off. And there's more that I'm hoping I will do this fall and early winter before the year is out. But I think we can be decently happy with progress we've made, but I definitely I don't think I'll be checking off all 25 things by 2025. So something I need to work on is that I need to prioritize a little bit more when it comes to my goal setting. Maybe having like a must-do list and then if you have more time, so that I don't feel the pressure as much when I get to the end of a year and like didn't check off as much as I wanted to. Yeah, I don't know how I have all the time either. Sometimes it's a full life. I love my life. I'm very grateful for all the opportunities and things I get to do and experience, but I would be lying if I said that there's never a time when I feel overwhelmed by how much I try and take on sometimes. And it also means that sometimes I guess what I'm saying is I wonder if it would be better for myself if I was a little bit more focused on just like one thing as my thing. You know, if all I did was YouTube or all I did was write, you know, it would be much easier probably to stay active and on top of that thing. But I just have so many interests. That's the problem. I'm so interested in so many things and so many hobbies. You know, we love hiking and kayaking and backpacking and rock climbing, and ice climbing, like all those things, all of our adventure activities, you know, takes up times, but that's what we love to do and, you know, or it's so fun to look back on and document, but then I love to read and write and journal, my indoor hobbies, if you will. So I definitely feel very torn in many, many directions sometimes. But certainly can't complain. I wish I went to a bookshop this month. I did, Barnes & Noble had a sale, so I did buy a few books through there. But I didn't actually go to a physical bookshop, but it was Love Your Bookshop Day on the 14th, and I just love the bookshop stickers, so I'm gonna have to use these another month, which is so cute, but I don't really have a reason to use it. But I was just looking at this Left-Handers Day. You might have noticed that I'm a lefty, so it kind of feels like a fun thing to just pop in here as like a fun fact that it exists, even though I didn't actually, it's not like I did something special for the day. Yes, and that is so true, Elizabeth. Oh my goodness. It's like my whole life could be books, and all I could do is read every day, and it still wouldn't be enough time to read all the books that I want to read. But we'll do our best to stay up to date with what we can, right? Now I'm debating. Maybe I don't want it. We'll see. I do think here I want to write a little bit about back to school, just because like some crazy things happen. Just this month, the president of the college where I work shared that she's going to be leaving at the end of this year, which is very bittersweet for us. I work very closely with the president in my job. But I'm also leading the search for the new president. So my job just got like even crazier than it is already, which is part of the difficulty of time to do things, because I definitely feel a little overwhelmed at times just with the day job alone. I'm going to put this here. I won't write in it yet. I'll just do that later. But I'll journal just a tiny bit about prepping for the start of the new semester and some of the changes coming up in my workplace. That'll just be a place for me to do that related to back to school. And in this case, the little lines that came through from the printer kind of act as nice little journaling lines. So we'll just lean into that aspect. Oh no, I forgot this had glue on the back of it. So I didn't use it and I just turned it over by accident. This was our White Cliffs. So I don't know, do I want to just put it down? Do I want to? I feel like I want to layer it. Let's just go all in with the sunflowers, since we've already been using them everywhere. It's a nice cohesive element to just pop up all over the page. So if I put this down here, then there's just something about layering, especially over like a big sticker like this that you don't need to show all of it. It's not like it has writing on it. It just feels like it adds an anchor is typically the wording that I use for something that otherwise would feel like it was kind of like floating awkwardly in space. Because this sticker kind of is grounded by being connected here and then to the bottom of the page. And then instead of this just being like awkwardly in the middle of this white space, and then I would want to think about a border for it, this then, if I layer it, just kind of like I don't know, does that make sense? It anchors it here. And then I can write a little title. Oh, I do want to look, I just remembered. One of the free printables that I put out a few months ago, no, 2 months ago, is a birthday, it's not birthday, it's annual celebrations. And for the annual celebrations collection, so you have like happy birthday freebie for getting your free Starbucks or other freebies you might get, birthday gratitude, surprise, hooray, celebrate. So I might want to use, and then there's also really fun numbers to use to like write out the birthday. also went to a baby shower, and this was the other freebie that I put out. Was this last month or the month before? A welcome baby collection. If you're going to baby showers or celebrating a birth in the family, somebody you know, you could use that. Understanding that, you know, I understand for some people this maybe is a hard topic. You know, if you're struggling with infertility or something like that. So, you know, you use them as makes sense for you and discard, you know, just ignore the ones that don't make sense for you. But I was thinking I could use this happy birthday. The celebrate could also work. Thank you, Anna. That's very kind. See, I think this circle is too big because it just feels like it needs to be kind of like off the page a little bit. If I was going to use it, and then there would need to be like something else here. And I think I want to write White Cliffs here. So maybe instead we'll use the celebrate. This was actually really sweet when we went to trivia at it's like a local pub that we play at really close to us. And the person leading the trivia, you know, we shared with them to Ben's chagrin that it was his birthday. And so she announced that it was his birthday on the, you know, microphone and the loudspeaker, and had the entire pub sing happy birthday to him. And he was bright red, as you can imagine, just totally embarrassed. But it was also a very sweet moment celebrating him. And I think it, even though he was embarrassed, I think it did make him feel special. So I'm also cutting out this baby shower sticker because another thing I did this month, even though I don't have a photo from it, is I went to one of my best friend's baby showers. And this, look at this color palette works perfectly with the August collection. I could not have planned that any better. So something I do have though, even though I don't have any photos of us together or anything from the baby shower, I have this, which is actually the printable collection that I'm going to release probably tomorrow. I meant to have done it today and I just didn't have time. On the Abiding Faith tier, this is actually, this one is the original drawing that I did for her and put it in like a cute little frame, which I'll share that photo with my Abiding Faith patrons when I share this printable collection. But I made this for the nursery, just a Jesus Loves Me, this I know, with this frame of the flowers. And I just drew these in colored pencil. And so I scanned it before I gave it to her so that I could make this printable for you guys. So I just made 4 different versions with, you know, so now faith, hope, and love abide. These 3, but the greatest of these is love. You guys know I love that verse. And be still and know that I am God. And then there's a blank one that you can use for whatever you like. So the color palette, just like it doesn't quite work. Like I wanted to use it on here. But I'm just like, maybe it doesn't go well enough. So I'm gonna cut it out though and see. Maybe I still will. Sometimes you have to not care about the color palette because sometimes there's gonna be a photo that you really want to use that doesn't quite match, or something like that. But we'll see. The nice thing is it's a printable. So if I, use something and don't like it or whatever, I can just print it out again. So that's what it would look like. And it definitely doesn't go perfectly, but we'll think about it. I lost the baby shower sticker. Oh, here it is. It's hiding in plain sight. Thank you, Elizabeth. See, because I could put like baby shower. What do you guys think? Does it not go well enough? Should I just like not bother? Another thing I could do is just like cut out a part of it with the baby shower, and then I'll know, there's a fuller version of it. Because I was thinking, like just these flowers on the edge would go. And then it's not as much of the pink and stuff, which is, I think it's the pink that really doesn't match the vibes as well. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna like just cut out a portion of it. And then of course I have all the other ones and I can always reprint it. So all that to say, this will be available for you if you are on the Abiding Faith tier. So there's just like a little cutout from it. And then of course the nice thing is that I know that this is the drawing that I gave her for her nursery. But of course somebody else looking at the page wouldn't know, that sweet little detail about it, which is one of the things I love about, these journals and them being so personal to the individual, because you can look at this page and just appreciate it as like, oh, look at those nice memories. But there's always like a little bit deeper element to it that's kind of just for you when you're creating them. I just think that's really special. Oh no. There we go. Didn't line it up quite right before. Okay, so then I think I'll do it there, and then I can write her name above it. There we go. Baby shower. Isn't that cute? And we've kind of just been sticking with the black brush pen. So I am going to do that again. Sometimes I like to switch up the pens and like pull in some other colors and nib sizes. But with so many colors and things happening with the printables, I kind of like just using the black pen. tail got a little bit messed up, but we can fix it. So there we go, Jordan's baby shower. Can't resist a little sparkle. Just adds like, it always adds like the perfect little framing that you didn't realize is missing until you put it in. You're like, ooh, that's such a nice little touch. See? So I really like that. I think that actually works a lot better for the page than just doing the whole thing. As you know, I think this is really pretty, and I like it a lot, but I think it works better for this entry to have just selected out the colors that work best with the page. So definitely don't be afraid with using my printables or stickers, you know, that you buy from the store, wherever, to just like make them work for you and cut them apart in ways that maybe weren't intended in how they were designed. So I'm feeling pretty good about the progress that we've made. Ben is away for the weekend. He has a long weekend that he's away for a bachelor party, so I could go all night if I wanted to. But I do try to keep these generally to 2 hours. So I'm gonna just look at my notes and see what still I have to document. That's funny. I have on here that I wanted to write down in quotes, "We needed this," and then caption it as "Millennials everywhere looking at the rain," because it's so funny. I feel like you cross the age of 26, let's say, and suddenly like you care about like, are we getting enough rain? Um, it's like the sign of adulthood. I don't know if any of you experienced that in moving into adulthood as well, but where we live, it's like been so dry throughout August, and we finally got some rain from hurricane, or was it hurricane or a tropical storm, Debbie, that went through. And obviously did not do good things for some areas, but here it was just like nice to get some steady rain. So I put that in here as something I want to document. We did hang out with some friends that I don't yet have in here. Like I said, our training with hiking needs to go here. I did put this in already. So yeah, not too many other things that I need to document, but actually quite a bit of blank space. So if you get to that point where maybe you have, you know, documented mostly everything that you can think of for the month and still have blank space to occupy, I would recommend going to the journal prompts. You can use the ones for that month and just kind of answer them. A memory from my school days, you know, use that and a journaling block to answer that question, or my favorite memory from the summer would be fun to think about, or writing about your favorite bookshop is really fun. And then I also have tons of other journal prompts on Patreon that you could use to inspire you to use that negative space just for responding to a journal prompt if you don't have as much to say, because that might be what I do for one of these spaces if I don't have as much to say about some of the other things that I had put in here. But I think what I'm gonna do is just maybe I'll write in here, and then that'll be my last item for our time tonight. So this was lunch. actually did a fish fry. So I'm gonna put that in parentheses for Ben's birthday. His parents came over and brought a bunch of bass that his dad had caught. And so we did like a big fish fry for us for lunch. That was delicious. And then for hand lettering, something I like to do is like make everything kind of match up. Even though the word is smaller, because I'm gonna write and here, I just put these little lines around it, see that? And then it extends it out. And so just visually it makes it seem like, oh, that's now filling up, right, this entire space. So we have lunch, fish fry, and I'm gonna do walk in the same style as the lunch. So lunch and walk. And then maybe I'll do the parentheses again. Definitely gonna be a little bit tight in terms of spacing to write out cliffs. And then I guess I could write, again, gonna put the little lines, because I'm only gonna put one word here, which is with. And then this is with his parents. It's funny when I document his parents, or like, I don't know, this is like a weird thing. I don't know if anybody else feels this way. When I'm putting it in my journaling, I'm like, do I call them like our last name, like, you know, their last name, the Heplers? Do I call them their first name, like with Chris and Laura, but it's his parents? Do I say Ben's parents? I know that's so silly. You know, because they're with the in-laws, they're my in-laws, but I also want this journal to be something he looks back on too. So it's just like a funny thing in terms of trying to document how I relate to them, but also for us both to look back on. So is it weird for him to see like his parents' names written as Chris and Laura in here? It's just funny. I don't know. The little things I think about. I'm gonna write it as I think their first names. There we go. So there's my little hand lettering to describe kind of what's happening here in this photo. And it definitely have like a little bit of white space around it, which might end up looking nice when all is said and done, or if I feel like it looks awkward because everything else is filled, I could do some like little dots and sparkles like I typically do in there. But I think that's good for that. And then I'll just need to write, oh, I never put this down, did I? See, I was gonna put that, no, like, where do I want it? Maybe I'll put it here or there. I was saying about liking to overlap with the photos, because I think I want to write his birthday. Or what I could do is say celebrate Ben. Maybe I'll do that. I changed my mind 1,000 times. Thank you for joining us, Tracy. I'm so glad you were able to join. Thank you, everybody. I'm just going to put this down and write Ben, and then I think that will be celebrate Ben. Okay. So there we go. That is what the page is looking like so far. Obviously some white space still to fill. By the time I am done, you will see it looking a little bit more like these pages, just fully filled with all of my lovely memories. But I think we got a lot done today. I will say, I obviously do this while like talking and like trying to work out my process in real time and keep you semi-entertained. So I think typically I can do an entire page if it's just me sitting down by myself in under 2 hours. So if you're looking at this and like wondering, is this something that you can do? I also obviously get extra creative with mine. You don't have to be quite so over the top. If you don't want, obviously the bigger your page, the longer it's going to take as well. So if you work in a smaller notebook, you might get it done a little bit faster. But all that to say, I think even 2 hours a month is worthwhile to have all of these memories to look back on. Like, it's just so extremely special to document your memories, to make them abide in this way. And even though right now this all feels pretty fresh in your mind, looking back maybe on June and July, I promise you when you're looking at this journal in a year, 5 years, 10 years, it's just going to be all the more special because all of these fun little details that you have recorded, you are going to be able to look back and remember them and have your memory jogged. And so much of it will have been things that you otherwise would have forgotten. So it's just so special and so fun to do this with you. I hope that you enjoyed the process. I hope that you made progress on your own spreads, or if you were just watching and following along, I really do hope that this inspires you to document your own month and to do these kinds of review style pages with us. If not starting this year, then already start to think about how maybe you can join us in doing this process in 2025. So thank you for watching. Again, if you want to check out the printables, the September collection is now available over on my Patreon. So you can go ahead and download those and print them out by joining the tier or checking out the shop, and get to be all prepared for documenting next month, which I'm so excited already. Fall is one of my favorite times to document. It's just so much fun. So I'm looking forward to our next hangout. Until then, we're gonna start working on our October printables. So if you're over on Patreon, look for that color palette poll coming out very, very soon. I can't wait to start designing those, already thinking about the next month. And there was something else I was gonna say. I can't remember, but that's okay. It must not be too important. But I just hope you'll come and join us over on Patreon. It means so much to me. It's a huge support for me and my channel and my family, but also it's just a great way for us to connect even deeper. That's the thing I was gonna say, is that I will share my final spread with you over in the group chat on the Patreon app. So make sure you head over there to see how this all turns out. I'll also make that the thumbnail a little bit later once I've finished for this video. So thanks so much. Elizabeth, I see your final question. The app for the books that I use to track all my reading is called the Storygraph app. The Storygraph. I'm going to put it in the chat so that you can see how it's written out. There we go, Storygraph. Yeah, so if you look up Storygraph, they do have a website too if you're not somebody who's super techie and don't like using apps on your phone. They also have a website, but that's the app I use for all my book recording stuff. So thank you guys. I will see you in the next one. Until then, keep exploring your abiding creativity and document a life abiding in faith, hope, and love.